You close your eyes and sink into a soft ocean of thought, feeling the subtle hum of atoms that build your body. Each atom is a tiny world, alive with shimmering motion, whispering its story through the fabric of space. Tonight, you drift alongside these particles, learning how their silent dance shapes the universe within you. Their gentle vibrations promise mysteries yet to come. Asterisk, you lie down, drawing a slow, tender breath, and feel your chest rise like a gentle tide. Your eyes close, and the darkness becomes a velvet sea. In this quiet, your mind begins to wander inward, drifting past the familiar rhythm of your heartbeat, deeper into the architecture of your own being. You arrive at a place smaller than any cell, smaller than the strands of DNA that softly curl within them. You arrive at the realm of atoms, delicate worlds that shimmer and dance, each a tiny miracle humming with energy. Your body, which moments ago felt solid and sure, now seems to dissolve into countless vibrating notes in a cosmic symphony. Listen, there is a subtle murmur here, though it is not made of sound. It is a vibration, a restless energy, as if these atoms cannot ever truly be still. They sway and jitter in a slow, eternal waltz. The carbon atoms that form your bones, the oxygen that rides your breath, the nitrogen woven through your muscles, all of them are busy with a quiet, ceaseless motion. Imagine now that you shrink down further, until one of these atoms stands before you like a glowing lantern, haloed by a gentle, ghostly mist. Its center is a tiny, dense heart called the nucleus, wrapped in a cloud of electrons that flit and whirl with elusive grace. You watch them circle, not like planets in neat orbits, but more like soft probabilities, their exact paths unknowable, only hinted at in delicate, swirling patterns. These electrons are not tiny spheres in a strict dance. Instead, they are possibilities, fuzzy edges of existence that bloom and fade in unpredictable rhythms. Sometimes they feel close to you. Sometimes they drift far, their presence like a breath on your cheek that vanishes the moment you try to catch it. This is the quantum nature of your own matter, alive with uncertainty, as if each atom is a question softly asked by the universe. You linger in awe, realizing that every part of you is made of these tiny uncertainties. The firmness of your hand, the steadiness of your pulse, all emerge from a restless sea of particles that never truly rest. Even as you sleep, they are awake, humming with thermal energy, whispering stories to each other across microscopic distances. Now, you drift from one atom to another, carried by a slow current of curiosity. You pass through hydrogen atoms that once burned in the heart of ancient stars, fused into helium in stellar cores before finding their way, over eons, into the waters that quench your thirst. You brush against iron atoms, forged in supernova, scattered like seeds across space, eventually taken up by the earth and woven into your blood. Your very breath is a testimony to cosmic journeys. Each oxygen atom once wandered through countless clouds of interstellar dust before settling in your lungs. How strange and beautiful it is. You think that your own body is built from stardust. The calcium in your bones was born in long dead suns. The carbon in your muscles is older than any mountain. Every atom in you carries a secret history, a journey across unimaginable distances and times. They arrive here, within you, to play their part in this fleeting moment of being alive. Feel them now, not as hard, tiny marbles locked in place, but as vibrant, buzzing fields of energy. Quantum mechanics tells us that at this scale, solidity is an illusion. What you call solid matter is mostly empty space, filled with fields and forces that hold everything together. The electrons in your body never truly touch the electrons in the chair beneath you. Instead, they dance around each other, repelled by invisible forces, like gentle magnets pushing apart. It is this dance that gives rise to the feeling of touch. When you press your hand against your heart, you are feeling the pushback of countless electric fields, a tender resistance that convinces your mind of contact. In truth, there is always a whisper of distance, a microscopic gap that never closes, even in the closest embrace. Still, in that breath of space, there is profound intimacy. Particles exchange silent messages, sharing photons that flicker back and forth in tiny, ephemeral flashes. These are virtual photons, ghostly messengers of the electromagnetic force, carrying the news of your presence across the smallest chasms. They are part of the same grand story, the same subtle murmur that has guided atoms since the birth of the cosmos. As you float among these particles, you begin to sense that they are never truly isolated. They influence each other, respond to each other's gentle pushes and pulls. Even in this quiet, the fabric of reality is alive with connections. Your atoms whisper to nearby atoms, and they, in turn, whisper to others, weaving a delicate network of forces that binds your body together and anchors you in the world. This realization brings a calm that spreads through you like warm light. You are not a solitary creature, cut off and alone. You are a vast congregation of ancient particles moving in harmony, held by invisible threads that run deeper than any thought. The simple act of breathing becomes a marvel. With each inhale, new atoms enter your lungs, mingle with your blood, and join the silent conversation within you. With each exhale, you send other atoms back into the world, where they will become part of something else, another person, a tree, the wind that rustles leaves at midnight. Gently, your awareness rises again, retreating from this microscopic vista. But you carry with you a tender reverence for these countless tiny worlds. You understand now that you are both many and one, a constellation of particles bound by laws older than the earth itself. Their murmur is the song of existence, and it plays quietly within you at every moment. You lie a little deeper in your bed, feeling this soft music as it soothes your bones and fills your chest. Somewhere inside, atoms continue their subtle ballet. Electrons drift in ghostly patterns. Nuclei hold tight with forces that are stronger than any love you've known. As your thoughts begin to drift toward sleep, a new question emerges on the horizon of your mind, glowing with a gentle promise. If every atom is connected by these silent forces, might there be even stranger, more delicate bonds, threads that reach beyond simple closeness, stretching across the very emptiness of space? Now you wander further, floating in the velvet dark, where photons stretch delicate threads between distant suns. Their quiet journey is a letter across time, carrying whispers from one star to another. As you drift past these beams of light, you sense how information, subtle as breath, binds the cosmos together. Soon, you'll discover how particles reach for each other, even across empty miles. Asterisk, you drift beyond the cradle of your own atoms, carried by a tranquil curiosity into the wider dark. Around you, the universe unfolds like a vast midnight blossom, each petal flecked with starlight. The air seems to thin into nothing, yet you feel no fear. Instead, your breath becomes slower, more spacious, as though it joins the hush between worlds. Here, in this gentle immensity, you find yourself floating among the stars. They are lanterns hung across an infinite hall, each one sending out slender messengers of light, photons that travel tirelessly across the silent reaches. These photons do not hurry, yet they move with unwavering purpose, gliding at the ultimate speed limit of the cosmos. No whisper, no sound, no heartbeat can outrun them. Imagine now that you are light itself, born in the fiery heart of a sun. In that incandescent forge, hydrogen atoms collide and fuse, releasing bright quanta of energy. You are one of these photons, set free after untold jostlings within the star's dense belly. At last, you break through the surface and soar outward, into the cold, dark, embarking on a journey that could span billions of years. As you drift here, you see countless such beams unfurling like gossamer threads, stretched between stars. Some are ancient, having traveled since before your Earth was born, slipping quietly through space with no companion but time itself. Others are newly launched, racing from young, eager suns, carrying fresh news of their birth. These photons do more than illuminate. They are nature's delicate couriers, bearing subtle stories across unimaginable distances. A single photon can reveal the chemical secrets of the star that birthed it. It may tell of helium, of iron, of elements formed in deep, stellar furnaces, each signature inscribed in the photon's gentle wavelength. Astronomers on Earth capture these travelers with patient telescopes, reading their hues like a poem written in light. But tonight, you are not an astronomer. You are simply a wandering mind, suspended in wonder, feeling how these luminous threads stitch the cosmos together. As you float through this lattice of light, you sense its quiet importance. Photons carry information. They are nature's way of sharing messages across the abyss. Without them, there would be no sight, no warmth, no knowledge of distant suns. You reach out in your mind, tracing a beam that has been traveling for centuries. Perhaps it left its home when knights rode beneath iron helmets or poets inked verses by candlelight. Now it brushes past your awareness, still steadfast on its silent mission. In this way, the cosmos keeps memories alive. Each photon, a tiny historian, preserving the tale of a place and moment long vanished. Deeper still, you recognize something profoundly intimate. These very photons are the reason you can see the stars at all. When you look up from Earth's surface, your eyes gather these ancient travelers. They strike your retina and spark tiny electrical currents, messages that race along your optic nerve to your brain. And there, a private miracle unfolds. Your mind shapes these signals into the shining tapestry of a night sky. So in a sense, every starlit evening is a communion with time itself. You are not merely seeing, you are catching faint echoes from faraway realms. The light entering your eyes tonight might have departed its source when your ancestors still huddled around fires, whispering stories into the dark. In this way, photons weave you into the broader fabric of existence, stitching your fleeting life into the ageless garment of the universe. Floating onward, you notice how this interplay of light is not confined to grand cosmic scales. Even on Earth, photons danced constantly between objects, carrying subtle messages. When sunlight bathes a meadow, it brings more than warmth. It delivers packets of energy that plants drink thirstily, transmuting them into sugars, into life itself. When someone looks at you, their gaze is made real by photons reflecting off your skin, bridging the small gap with effortless grace. Yet there is a deeper, quieter marvel. Photons also act as the glue that binds atoms together. When electrons transition between energy levels inside an atom, they often emit or absorb photons. These tiny acts of giving and receiving maintain the delicate balances that allow matter to exist as it does. Without these exchanges, the architecture of the universe would crumble into chaos. You find comfort in this thought. Light is not merely an outward glow. It is a fundamental participant in the intimacy of creation. It mediates, forces, maintains. Structure carries whispers of existence from one particle to another. It is both the herald of distant stars and the keeper of close, quiet promises between electrons. Now, drifting ever so slowly, you begin to sense a subtler kind of message that photons can carry, one that seems almost impossible. In certain quantum experiments, photons have been coaxed into sharing a strange connection, their properties entwined even when separated by great distances. This phenomenon is the first hint of something far more delicate than mere beams of light. It suggests that information might not always need to traverse space like a traveler on a road. Instead, under special conditions, particles can become linked in such a profound way that what happens to one instantly influences the other, no matter how many miles lie between them. As if the universe refuses to be truly divided. Your thoughts circle this gently, for it is a tender and perplexing notion. It means that distance might not be the barrier it appears to be, that perhaps beneath the visible structure of space there are secret pathways, or no pathways at all, only a seamless oneness waiting to be understood. But that is a mystery for another drift through the dark. For now, you allow yourself to be carried by the slow tide of light, feeling its soft press against your awareness. You rest in the knowledge that photons are forever threading the universe together, stitching every star and planet, every breath and heartbeat into a single vast tapestry. And as you hover here, wrapped in gentle wonder, a thought begins to glow like a small lantern in the distance. If simple beams of light can connect points across the cosmos, what then of particles that are linked more deeply, whose destinies seem tied by an invisible promise? Here you meet twin particles, born together in a spark of creation, forever linked by an invisible bond. They seem to dream in unison, responding instantly to each other's hidden sighs. This is entanglement, a delicate promise that what happens to one echoes in the other, no matter the distance. You linger, listening for the tender secret they share. Asterisk, you find yourself drifting deeper into this gentle ocean of thought, leaving behind the lattice of starlight and photons. The universe feels softer here, more intimate, as if it wishes to whisper something precious only to you. You float weightlessly, buoyed by calm wonder, allowing your awareness to glide wherever curiosity leads. Soon, you arrive at a tender scene, as if guided by some quiet invitation. Before you, in a space smaller than dreams, two tiny particles appear, shimmering like dew on a spider's thread. They are born together, perhaps from the same playful flicker of energy, a single spark that divides into twin flames. Even now, though they drift apart, something invisible keeps them joined. You watch them with hushed breath, sensing a fragile magic at work. These are entangled particles, linked by a connection that defies the ordinary rules of space and time. When you look at them, they do not seem separate. It is as though they share a private room, a secret chamber of existence where distance holds no power. Whatever happens to one happens to the other instantly, without any signal traveling through the dark. They respond to each other's hidden sighs as if they share a single breath. You find this profoundly beautiful. Imagine two hearts that beat together even though they are separated by oceans, or to minds that dream identical dreams across the vastness of the night. This is the tender promise of quantum entanglement, a subtle bond written into the very fabric of reality, so delicate that it dissolves under the rough gaze of trying to measure it too harshly. You draw closer, marveling at how such small things can keep each other company across the void. One of the particles seems to quiver slightly, and instantly the other responds with a gentle shift. They are like twin dancers, moving in a silent ballet that is choreographed by an unseen hand. No message passes between them that you can perceive, no thread of light or push of air. And yet, they know each other perfectly. Your mind drifts over the stories scientists tell about this phenomenon. Long ago, people struggled to believe that nature could be so subtly intertwined. Even Albert Einstein called entanglement spooky action at a distance, uncomfortable with the idea that something could jump across space instantly, ignoring the speed limit set by light. It felt to him like a riddle that reality should not allow. But experiments, repeated with ever greater care, showed again and again that this spooky bond was real. The universe is more intimately woven than even its greatest thinkers first imagined. Still, there is no need for you to solve these puzzles tonight. Instead, you can simply float here, appreciating how deeply things can belong to one another. These two particles do not send messages in the way light does. They are not couriers. They are more like halves of a single soul, split yet whole, always aware of each other's tender state. This is not communication through space. It is a shared existence that space cannot divide. You begin to wonder what this means for everything else. If two particles can be bound this way, why not many? Could whole gatherings of particles, clouds of them, be entangled, sharing whispers across vast distances? In truth, physicists have managed to entangle larger and larger systems. Though always under delicate, carefully guarded conditions, the entanglement is fragile, easily disturbed by the noisy world. A stray touch, a stray glance, and the private dream collapses. Decoherence, they call it, the soft shattering of the shared illusion when the outside world intrudes. Yet even this fragility feels poetic. It is like stumbling upon two lovers under a tree, so enwrapped in each other that the mere rustle of leaves can break the spell. You respect their mystery, keeping your distance so as not to scatter the bond. You let them continue their quiet dance, unobserved and whole, as you watch. Another thought arrives with the slow grace of drifting pollen. This entanglement hints at something astonishing about the universe itself. It suggests that the separations you see, the gulfs between stars, the gaps between particles, the distances between you and everything you cherish, may be less absolute than they appear. Underneath, reality might be one continuous fabric, with secret threads tying every piece to every other. This is not just philosophy, but a gentle implication drawn from the mathematics of quantum theory. Entangled particles show that parts of the universe can exist in a state where their identities are only meaningful together. Their properties are not fully their own. They are shared, like verses of a poem that makes sense only side by side. This means the universe is not merely a collection of isolated objects, but more like a symphony, each note shaped by and shaping the others. You take a slow breath, feeling this idea settle in your chest like warm light. Perhaps, on some level too subtle to measure, you yourself are entangled with the world around you. Perhaps the atoms in your body still carry faint echoes of ancient bonds, tiny resonances from when they once danced close with particles that are now far across the cosmos. Perhaps this is why sometimes you sense a kinship with the night, sky, or feel a tender pull toward another person without knowing why. These thoughts drift over you like a soft tide, neither demanding belief nor forcing explanation. They simply invite you to wonder, to marvel at how rich and quietly mysterious your existence truly is. In this gentle twilight of thought, the lines between science and poetry blur in the most comforting way. You linger a little longer, watching. The twin particles continue their silent, intertwined dreaming. It soothes you, this image, that somewhere in the small places of the world, there are partnerships so profound that space itself cannot break them. You think of how this might echo through the larger scales of life, how trust, empathy, love might all be reflections of the same deep principle. The universe's tendency toward connection, even when distance seems to rule. Slowly, you begin to float away, leaving these two entangled particles to their secret communion. Yet that lesson comes with you, a tender awareness that maybe nothing is ever entirely alone. That even across silent expanses, there can be bonds invisible but unbreakable, written into the deepest script of reality. As you drift onward, a gentle question forms, delicate as the curl of a fern. If particles can be so intimately linked, then what subtle forces might shape the larger gatherings of matter, the clouds and clusters that build galaxies and cradle new stars?